Welcome. I'm back with another session of staying off of drugs. Peep this. I say I probably started first curious drug of choice that I came across was marijuana. Around the third grade, you know what I mean? And I say this, marijuana has never been a a a, a, a a drug that's addictive to me. I could function off of marijuana. I could continue to love me off of marijuana. I maintained a clean life. You know how you get on the other hard drugs, you start neglecting yourself. But we talking about like third grade. Um, touched it once, probably didn't touch it again till maybe middle, maybe high school summer. Cause I know the eighth grade I didn't puff no marijuana. You know what I mean? I did some drinking, which it was allowed, but it was no everyday thing. It was no every week thing. It was no every month thing. It was more like, okay, mama having a social. There's liquor with like 2% 2% alcohol content in it, which to us that's like a fruit drink. You know what I mean? So it probably had a couple of maybe one or two squigs in it. Mama said, y'all go ahead take that to y'all room. You know what I mean? So alcohol was never a addictive um beverage. You know what I mean? I've seen my uncle before I've ever started, really drinking. Um, toes get cut off. Um, legs get cut at the kneecap. You know what I mean? Because of the abuse of the alcohol to his body. And that kind of always scared me to never drink at home. I was more of a sociable drinker growing up. You know what I mean? I'm out at a social. Yeah, I take a beer or two. I might take a shot of some liquor. You know what I mean? I might get a fruity drink. You know what I mean? I like drinks with fruits in it. Colored. You take some alcohol, some gin, some rum, some vodka, something. You mix it with a fruit juice, some orange juice. You mix it with some cranberry. You got what I'm saying? A little fruity taste to it. You know what I'm saying? But alcohol was never that right there. You know what I mean? And like I said, I started off with marijuana, and by the time I got into high school, I sat in with the friends of elementary school I still have in high school. You know what I mean? Once again, I can name everybody. I know everybody I've ever got high with. And when I say high, I mean smoking weed, I mean drinking alcohol, I mean smoking a jumbo, I mean sniffing heroin. You got what I'm saying? And through these sessions, yeah, their name's gonna be in it. Yeah, their name's gonna be in it. You know what I mean? This not a tell-all. This not vengeance, but what no one gonna do is sit there and make lies up about me. You got me? Every platform I have is for defense. I don't do this for offense. I do this for defense. What you're not gonna do is talk smack about me. What you're gonna do is tell the truth about me. What I'm gonna do is tell the truth about you, and I'm never gonna lie on you. Anywho, once again, this is session 2, and the fight with the journey along smoking marijuana. You know what I mean? It just was never nothing that hindered me. You know what I mean? For anything, it helped me see better. It helped me hear better. It helped me think better. You know what I mean? But I will say this: I had my first schizophrenic episode when a guy named Mark Payne gave me some marijuana. We was at school, And I snapped off it. You know what I mean? I don't believe it was the marijuana. I believe there was so much going on in my life. You know, I was in the streets selling drugs. Every day I was worried about whether or not Don Carter, he was a Richmond narcotics and homicide detective. You know what I mean? I was worried about was he on to me. You know, I had some things going on at school where that the security guards were they on to me. You know what I mean? I used to leave school a lot. You know what I mean? And this particular day I first had that schizophrenic episode, you know what I mean? We were smoking some weed. Like I said, I got the weed from Mark Payne, you know what I mean? And we cut school, you know what I mean, wouldn't smoke. So while we on Chamberlain Avenue, I'm seeing the security guard van, book. I'm like, oh Lord, book after us, man. So I'm already you know what I mean? I'm already paranoid on him, you know what I mean? So they went back to school. I said, I'm going home because there's too much going on in my mind. So, as I'm going home, I don't know what it was. I saw Don Carter. I saw some police presence in regular marked cars. So I threw the weed from out of my pocket. And if you're familiar with Ginner Park Elementary School, the north side area of Richmond, Virginia, it's a water tower that's set across the street. I threw the weed over the gate, the weed over there somewhere. But by the time I get into the subdivision, Washington Park we live in, I'm coming down the sidewalks in the middle of the houses, which you can say sidewalk alleys, but they're sidewalks. Next thing you know, I hear Don Carter. Next thing you know, I see Don Carter. Then I got my associates, my teenage year associates, Alvin Cooper, Brian Smith. They're down Alvin house yelling at me, and noise. So everything going through my mind so much, man. I'm hearing all these conversations, all these voices. So the house we lived in on Maggie Walker Avenue was owned by our neighbor, Miss Williams, which was a high school teacher at Wythe. And I saw her car was home. I said, I ain't going in the house. I'm gonna go over here and talk to her. So she could tell, something was wrong. I didn't have to explain a lot to her, and she didn't ask a lot of questions, you know what I mean? She went and got me a glass of milk. I drank the milk. Next thing you know, I was out. You know what I mean? My mom was waking me up, telling me, come on. You know what I mean? So me and my mom get to the house. I explain everything to her, you know what I mean? But like I said, if it was said to the right person, I probably would have started mental health classes back in the 80s. You got me? My first episode was 87, 88, somewhere in there. But if I had or knew how to explain exactly what was going on with me, I probably would have been put in some mental health classes then. But that's then, this now. I'm still here. I'm surviving. You know what I mean? I've learned some ways to cope with this. Some ways I don't know how to cope with it. But let's get back to this staying off of drugs. So, after that episode happened, I stopped smoking weed for years. You know what I mean? For years. I put the streets down. I said, man, I ain't going back out here and hustle no more. I end up dropping out of school. I end up really going hard at working. You know what I mean? And the next thing I know, I moved out my mom's house to my grandmother's house. But I say this, you have to take everything you do serious. You have to understand what your triggers are. You have to understand how far to go. You know what I mean? And one thing I learned, one thing I built strength off of, is to not let my anger dictate whether I smoke a blunt or not, whether I go get high or not. I had to train myself. You know what I mean? I had to focus on what are my triggers. You got what I'm saying? Why is this a trigger? Now, how can I defend my sobriety against this trigger? You feel what I'm saying? So in these sessions, I'm going to educate you. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's been 20 plus years for me. You know what I mean? It ain't been too much off and on. Like I said, as far as I know, I've relapsed, especially off the jumbos, probably twice. You know what I mean? The heroin, cold turkey, quit that. You got what I'm saying? If the marijuana had played a part in taking my life away from me, I would quit that. I would have quit that cold turkey, never mess with that again. If the jumbos had did that, which that is, you know, crack with weed, you know what I mean, that you roll up in a leaf, you roll up in a cigarillo and you smoke it. You know what I mean? And if that had ever played a part of something, you know, me taking it, it'll take my life from me, I wouldn't have never messed with that ever again in life. You got what I'm saying? My life mean more to me than a drug, than some money, than a woman. You got what I'm saying? So look, peep this out. There's just a little something on this Sunday, a pick me up. Keep fighting. The struggle get easier. The struggle get easy. The struggle get hard. But stay fighting and just remember this always. An active addict will stay in the fire, will stay in the blame, will stay in the effect. A user that's trying to fight, that's trying to get away from triggers, trying to get away from a disease, a drug, a chemical that is helping them self-destruct, they're going to stay away from you. They're going to educate themselves on how to stay away from you, how to not influence their own selves to go out and do drugs. Anywho, once again, I am Norris Stanley. Stay off of drugs. I'm out.